Hello, everyone. Welcome to or back to the pod. You guys, it is 2026 and it is time for you to lock in. You're wasting your time, you're not living with urgency, and you're looking around at people who are actually achieving things that you want to be and wondering why you aren't. In 2025, I've got a master's degree in engineering. I became an EMT. I ran my first marathon. I ran my first ultra marathon. I did not miss a day of working out. And still, if you could believe it, I still had time to go out on some dates and even visit friends, all while working as a full-time engineer. If there's one thing that I have some ability to do, it's to lock in. And here's how I do it. This is what we talk about on Pursuit. It's what makes somebody chase after things, and also what makes someone able to chase after those things. What do you have to do on an everyday basis to get those things done? It all roots in your mindset. And there's two big things with this one. The first is that discipline is actually when you don't want to do it and you do it anyway. You actually find joy in the fact that you notice that you didn't want to do it and that you did it anyway. For example, sometimes I literally wake up at 3 a.m. and I want to go for a 10-mile run and I do the 10-mile run. That's not discipline, you guys. That is not discipline. Why? Because I wanted to do that. It didn't take grit. Okay, maybe sometime along that 10-mile run, okay, I had to push through when I got the 10-mile number in my head, but to actually go out and do that, that's not discipline. Discipline is even before, when I was only doing 30 minutes in the morning, was when I would still go out and do the run when I did not want to, because it was getting me towards my goal of training for my marathon. And nowadays I've bumped that up longer. And do you think there's some mornings when I don't want to go outside and run for an hour, or it's a Wednesday and I don't want to do hills? Of course. There's several runs where I don't want to go out to do it. But the thing is that you don't have to enjoy it. People, it's very freeing. And I'll get to this later, but it's very freeing to understand that you don't have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to enjoy the goal that you're chasing. You find joy in the fact that you're chasing your goal. So and if you're studying, sometimes there's days when I don't want to study, and we'll get into actually how you romanticize all of these things and how you actually want to do these things. Let's say you didn't want to study that day. Let's say you didn't want to do the homework. You think there's times that I didn't want to do propulsion homework and aerodynamics homework? Of course. Props to anybody that has an interest in that topic and could do those homeworks. But that was the grind. It's when you don't want to do it and you actually do it. And here you can actually find joy. You can find this twisted joy in the fact that you didn't want to do it and you did it anyway. And then that builds. When you set aside those 30 minutes to study what you need to for your exam, and then after 4 days of studying for 30 minutes, you're like, hey, I studied for 2 hours. I studied for 2 hours more than I wouldn't have. And you get joy in that. You get joy in the fact that a lot of people stop when they feel that resistance and they don't actually experience the joy of that compounding daily effort, which we'll also get into. Number 2, fundamental mindset is, and my mom and I had this saying in college, especially during my last semester. It was very challenging. And the saying we had was, sometimes the only way out is through. Once you set that goal, you do not have to enjoy every step, every run, every lift, every homework assignment, every lecture, every professor. You don't have to enjoy it. You just need to do it because you have already pre-decided what goal you're going after and the steps that you need to take it. And then all you have to do is, as Layla Hormozi says, she uses a more explicit word here, but what word can I use? Forget your feelings, follow the plan, right? So forget your feelings, follow the plan. And there's actually freedom in this because you do not have to pretend to like it all the time. You don't have to like every step. What you can actually like is the fact that every time you sit down and you study and you work or apply it to your life. You study for an exam that you have coming up, you're trying to get a certification and you're doing practice questions. Every single time you do that, you don't have to enjoy the fact that you don't have to enjoy that topic necessarily. You can enjoy that it's bringing you to your end goal. And I mean, ideally, we're doing things on a day-to-day basis that we also find some enjoyment in. I mean, I think it's fun when, you actually do enjoy what you're doing every day. But that's a huge thing, is you think that that I want to study every single day. No, like, no. And so you don't have to pretend that you like it all the time. You just have to do it. And if you don't know what your end goal is, people will come to me and they say, I don't know what I want to do. And literally listen to my very first episode. That is what kicked off this entire world that I'm creating, is this idea and this secret of life that I believe that I have unlocked, where you detach from yourself and your internal desires, and rather you look at yourself from a third-party perspective and you think, what would an exceptional person do here? What is the coolest thing that I can picture somebody doing? And then guess what? You do that. You create this big goal and then you break it down into steps. And sure, you're going to enjoy some steps along the way. Some steps are going to be so fun. Some things you're gonna find so much enjoyment in. When I started lifting, I mean, that became a huge joy of mine. And that's, I mean, some days it's discipline, but a lot of times it's not really discipline because, I want to be going there. I mean, some days like today when I arrive from a 15-hour plus travel day from Australia, I need to go lift, and that's going to take some discipline. But it's just freeing because you don't have to enjoy every single thing you do, because once you find that coolest thing in the world to you, you know how many steps you're going to have to take along that way? So many. When you think you're going to enjoy all of it? No. And that's okay. That's okay. The issue is when people start to let their feelings dictate their actions, right? If you can decide what your action is and follow that, I mean, barring medical issues and physiologically taking care of yourself, do it and get satisfaction in there. Okay, now so for some practical tips. The number one tip I have for you is set timers. Set delineated times, because work expands to the time that you give it. And timers just do this, psychologically, to me, this is just what works to me, so well. So I give myself, 2 minutes before I set the timer, I'm going to check anything I want on my phone. I'm going to text everybody that I want. I'm going to make sure I send out my morning messages. I'm going to post my reels for 50 for Fuel. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to give myself that time. And then I'm going to set a timer on my work computer for an hour and a half. And no matter what, I'm not going to go on my phone again. And what you'll find is that sometimes the hour and a half flies by. And sometimes I have the impulse so many times to check my phone, you don't even know. And the thing is I put it away. I put it on Do Not Disturb. I set that timer not because I have any more willpower than anyone else. Rather, I put those guidelines for myself because I know I am susceptible to wanting to check my phone. Same thing. I have 1,000,002 thoughts that go in my head. I'm constantly thinking about podcast ideas and fundraising ideas for 50 for Fuel and so many things, right? I have so many thoughts, and if I acted on each one of those impulses every time, I would never get my work done, my engineering work done. So what I do is that I also write down my thoughts on a sheet of paper. And do not come bringing out your phone and try making a notes app. No, it needs to be paper. And let's say there's somebody that I've been wanting to text back. I get the impulse 30 times that I want to text this person back. I will literally make a tally mark on my sheet of paper every time that I want to text them back, so that I give myself that time when it is appropriate. It's not about denying yourself. It's about shifting that time to a more appropriate time. So if I have, 6 tally marks next to something I wanted to do or someone I wanted to message, I'll make sure that when the hour and a half is up, I allocate that time to answering what it is that I want to. Now, an hour and a half is going to seem like a long time at first. So start with 30 minutes. And even on days when I'm not feeling the most locked in the world, I will do 30 minutes. I will set a 30-minute timer, and then I will take a quick 2-minute break. The idea is set yourself delineated deep work focus times. Now, guys, I use this in the gym. I use this studying. I use this at work. I use this in all areas of my life. It's so convenient. On my Apple Watch, set a quick timer, 30 minutes in the gym. Don't be on my phone. And I just cannot reiterate to you how much it's not that I have more willpower than anyone else. It's the fact that I don't let myself see the notification, because if I see the notification, I'm going to want to respond to it. It's going to be circling around in my head. I'm going to be responding to that person in my head. So why would I put myself in that situation? Life is all about setting yourself up in the situations that are going to act in alignment with your values. And I've reflected on it a lot. And to me, a core value of mine is discipline. And it actually repulses me when I sense myself not being disciplined, when I don't want to put in at least 30 minutes of studying. Like, it actually is, like, to my core, bothers me. And I realize it's because discipline is just very rooted in who I am. So when I feel myself start to want to give in to, okay, I cannot study today, it's fine. Like, no, like, that is repulsive. That's not the energy of 2026. That's not the energy of somebody who goes out and chases things. Okay, you sense that? Okay, we can all have that feeling. Now flip it around and do it. Do it anyway. And the thing is that sometimes starting seems like you don't want to start, but then you get into it and you actually find some enjoyment in it. Like, sometimes I don't want to learn about cardiac muscle structure, but then I start watching some Medicosis Perfectionalis videos and I get so into it, and then I want to just keep studying more and more and more, right? Like, or even at work, like I do engineering analyses every single day. You think there's some days where I don't want to do these and I don't want to write these reports? Of course, because if you do anything every single day, there's going to be some times that you don't want to do it, right? But then I start to get into it, and I actually start, really being proud of and enjoying the report that I'm writing, and I get into it. And then my work actually, goes into the evening, and I have to be disciplined about actually, stopping and working on something else. So yeah, it's going to be hard at first, but you can find, you actually find enjoyment in what you're working on. And the way you do that is by setting a timer to allow yourself to get into that deep states. Because if you're constantly bouncing around from one thing to one thing, there's studies that, will give you, like, quantify the amount of time that you lose when you task switch, right? So start easy on yourself. Go, I have a timer that's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, and then I have a 10-minute break. So, timer, lock in all areas of your life, and then take your break. Like, that's a big thing is take your break. Because in college, I would just power through the whole day and not get up at all and just work all the time. And because I thought, a 5-minute walk around this building is going to be a waste of time. Actually, when you give your mind time to rest, there's Huberman just did a good podcast episode about optimizing work efficiency. And it's like, when you can release that focus from that focus right in front of you on your phone or a small screen to actually looking up in the distance, it helps your brain come up with new ideas, and then you're actually going to be working more efficiently. Because sometimes you can get so stuck on one problem and you're not seeing it from another angle. But if you actually take a moment to take a break, an actual break, in terms of a cognitive break, I mean, if you're doing cognitive work, to give your mind a break, let it wander a little bit, and then come back, and you actually find that you can actually work for longer if you take breaks. I mean, that's what I found. I found that I could actually work for more hours in the day when I scheduled intermittent breaks between, instead of just trying to power through the whole day. Now, sometimes you have a deadline and you need to sit there and you need to grind it out, and there's no time to be walking around in nature for 5 minutes. Okay, I get it. But, like, sustainably, on a sustainable basis, lock in and then take that break and be very intentional about it, and don't let your mind switch from one thing to another. Next is commit to a standard every day. And what I mean by this is commit to a task that you're going to do every single day that's going to lead you to your goal. It's the idea of 1% better every day. And then that accumulates. It's surface area we're talking about here. That's how we achieve goals. Okay. So every single day I do 30 push-ups. Every day I do 12,000 steps. Every day I do something for EMT. That can be stunning, that can be volunteering, that can be applying to a job. What else do I do? I mean, lift every other day, run on the off days. Could probably sit here and rattle off even more. I mean, get 130 grams of protein, like, and it sounds like a lot when I list it off. You stack these habits. So I didn't start out doing all of these things all at once, but you add it on, and then it honestly just becomes part of your day. And the idea is here is we spend the first 20 something years of our life in school where we have a syllabus and it says what assignment is due every single day. And then you graduate and you no longer have that external source telling you what you need to get done by a certain day. What I've done is I've created assignments for myself that aren't school, but they're still assignments. So I get a podcast up every Tuesday. That's an assignment. Nowadays for Fit for Fuel, post a reel at least every other day. And I'm actually thinking about making it every day to just increase engagement. And just like go ham on that, right? Because it's only a month in and I have a third of my videos done. So I'm like, hey, maybe I can make this sustainable. I mean, you need to pick something that's sustainable, right? That's why I didn't go one video every single day, because I didn't want to commit to myself something that I knew I wouldn't, or like that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to handle. But doing 30 push-ups, doing my exercises, posting a podcast, like all those things, those studying, like it's going to take discipline. It's going to take time management and discipline to allocate those 30 minutes to watch the lectures. If you do it every single day, you're constantly, you're keeping it in motion. An object in motion stays in motion. It's about keep going just a little bit, like 1%, like even, and then on your worst days, you'll be doing more than some people ever do. Like on your worst days, you'll spend 20 minutes in the gym doing 8 curls, 8 bicep curls. And guess what? That's going to be more than the person that doesn't step foot in the gym because they don't have that identity-based habit built in. That's how you do it. It's 1% better every day. When I was in class, I would commit to, okay, I'm going to do 2 aerospace environments homework problems every day. And then I'm going to watch my stats lecture. That was I created that assignment. I mean, that wasn't an actual school assignment, but that, I've realized that cadence was what was going to make me successful balancing working full time and doing the degree and working out and also having some time for a social life sometimes. Right? So it's about committing to one thing every day. It's not about doing one grand thing like one day when you hit a stroke of inspiration. No, it's about the grind. It's about the discipline. And that's why I started off with the mindset is that discipline is actually when you don't want to do it. Discipline is actually when it's easier to do something else or to waste your time. Discipline is when you have to think ahead and think, okay, like I need to get my long run in today, and I need to work a full-time job, and I need to volunteer from 4 to 8. Now, not to mention, I need to eat like this food, and that's going to take time management. That's going to take discipline on the forefront, and you make that decision beforehand. That's the thing. You don't make a game time decision. You think about it carefully of what is the goal that I need to do every day. Like, I need to film these days so that I can edit these days so that I can post these days for 50 for Fuel. I need to, record this podcast this week so that I can send it out for approvals to the individual that's in it so that I can post it in 3 weeks. It's about this time management. It's about these small bites that you take every day. I mean, I've been doing 30 push-ups for several months now. I mean, going on the order of 6 months. And I mean, that's 6 months times 30 push-ups a day. I mean, and that's helping me with my side quest to the side quest of doing 10 pull-ups because I'm building that upper body strength. And it's like 30 push-ups. And I even started out with, I think 20 or 25. And then I amped it up. I think it was 20. And then eventually I was like, this is too easy. So I made it 30. And you think that it gets easier right away? No. There were so many months, even now sometimes, when the 30 push-ups are still tough. And that's fine because now I've done more push-ups than like some people ever do, right? And it's not because one day I busted out 300 push-ups. It's because every single day I just do 30 push-ups, and I literally will get out of bed if it's 11 p.m. and I realize that I didn't do them for the day. I'll get out and I'll go on the floor and I'll get them done. But it's like that, and like you even shouldn't be in my position where you're at 11 p.m. and you haven't done the thing. Like, you should be planning for it ahead of time and make sure you have it done before you go to bed. But, some days are crazy. But, I've even done push-ups in my bed. Like, I'm like, that's how much I didn't want to do it, but how much I still wanted the discipline of knowing that I did it every day, So it's just really about those small bites. It's also, there's also a saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? When you have this super daunting task, like at work, I have to analyze like on the order of 80 things, right? Like, that's so daunting. Okay, you just break it up. You just do one every single day until it's done. I mean, I'm taking a course right now in prep for paramedic school. I just need to watch one lecture, and then eventually, in the months, I will have that course done. So next is pair it with something good. So my sister, I know, she one time told me that she goes to this cafe and she drinks this Snickers latte, right, when she studies. So it's about pairing it with something good. So if you lift, you should eat a David protein bar after. Not sponsored, but one day that's my dream, is to be sponsored. David Protein, if you sponsor me, I already make so much content with you in it. I will make you proud. Right? Okay. Anyways, so I have this thing called Lifting Treat, and it's my David Protein bar that I eat after I lift, and I only eat it on the days that I lift. I pair it with something good, right? At work. Some days, I'd rather be doing something else. Like I said, if you do something every day, you're not going to enjoy it every single day. I will pair it with something good. So I'll pair it with my coffee, with my chocolate elements, and I'll enjoy it. And that leads me to my next key is make it a vibe. I romanticize everything. Everything. If you know me, if you know my Instagrams, I literally have an Instagram account for studying, and it's just me romanticizing my studying life. I get Muji pens and notebooks, and I light a candle, and I have my fairy lights, and I make it dark, and I have my lo-fi music, and you gotta find what's gonna make it a vibe for you. What is your vibe that you like? Do you like a super open, airy space, or, in like an art museum type vibe, like super beautiful and open and airy? Is that your vibe? Do you like being on campus? Do you like being in a library? Do you like being in a Starbucks? Do you like being home? Do you like being in your bed? It doesn't matter. It's just like, what is your vibe? What are those little things? Do you want it to smell good? Do you want your favorite drink? Like romanticize it. Make it a vibe. I think that's, besides timers, that's one of the number one things I do. I mean, when I choose even the gym that I go to, it's got to be the vibe. It's got to be the environment, because we are putting ourselves in the environments that are going to make us the most successful in 2026, right? Like, enjoy the environments that you're in. Either go somewhere that you like it or craft it at home. Like, I love crafting my space at home to be aligned with exactly what I like. Like, take the time, take the money to invest in your space, invest in the candles, in those little things that are going to bring you joy, so that when you're, say, studying something you don't care about, but you need to be caring about, or that you need to be doing, that at least you're going to enjoy the environment around you. Like, I will get roses and study with roses. Okay? You don't have to be more passionate than anybody else. You just have to do it more than anybody else. And there's this YouTube channel. I talked about lo-fi. So I have Lo-Fi Girl. I'll link her in the description. That's a live stream. And then there's also this channel. There's some called Roti, Soti. I don't know why they're so similar, but those are the channel names. There'll also be linked down below. And they have music based with titles based on what I'm feeling for that day. So I'm looking at it now. They have titles such as You Never Fail Until You Stop Trying, Failure is not the opposite of failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Study time, no distractions, just progress. So it just gets me in that vibe of, like what's the intention that we're setting today at work? Is it a grind day? Is it, a chill day? If it's December and it's cold, I'm going to turn on a New York cafe jazz, right? Like I even made my own one time hour loop of my fireplace at home because I loved the vibe, and I would listen to the crackling of my actual own fire at home. I'll also put that as unlisted in the description if you want to listen to my fireplace at home. In the past, when I would be missing my undergraduate college, Purdue, there was a girl that also made a similar thing studying in one of the buildings. It was just like ambient noise of one of the Purdue buildings. Like I would listen to that, right? So it's like make it a vibe. And then I even if it's the smallest thing that I can find to enjoy about it, then I can get into it somehow. So like going back to the engineering report, if I can just enjoy the fact that, this product I'm creating, then I can get into it more and start to enjoy it and gain some momentum, right? And then the last thing that I am going to leave you with is, despite how busy you get, maintain consistent interactions with the people you care about. Like I have this checklist in my head of, okay, I'm going to text this person in the morning and tell them good morning. I'm going to check in with this person. I'm going to call my grandma on the weekend. And it really comes down to being selective with your time and with people and prioritizing, okay, what is not only the most important work that I need to do today, but who are the people that I do want to maintain consistent communication with. I think sometimes I struggle, and if you're anything like me, struggle making time for friends. Like that has to be an active thing that I do. I have to remind myself to keep reaching out to people, to keep making that consistent connection. Especially in the past, I thought just those kind of interactions were a waste of time, but honestly, that's the building blocks of friendships. It's just like when I'm saying, it's not about doing 300 push-ups in one day. It's about doing 30 push-ups every single day. It's not about the grand gesture you make to a friend. It is really about the consistent interactions you have with them. So I do want to leave that as the last tip is, as much as you do lock in and have that discipline, keep those small interactions and do it in a time that does align with your goals. Do it, in the morning, maybe before you lock into work, or allocate an hour before bed to respond to those people. But it is very important, and it's okay if you only have the capacity for, say, one in-person friend. I mean, especially last semester when I was finishing up my last semester of grad school, I literally only had the capacity for one in-person friend who I would hang out with on occasion. Everybody else I kept in touch with virtually. And that is okay. I mean, understand what your limits are, but do make that time, because feeling alone in everything you're trying to chase is like, that's not really a way to live in happiness, I think. I feel like we're getting I feel like we're diverting to a discussion on happiness and connection and everything like that. That's been on my mind too, so maybe you'll hear that in an upcoming episode. But that's how I lock in, guys. That's how I do it, and that's what I would recommend to anyone who needs to lock in. I mean, if there's two things you take away, set timers and make it a vibe. Okay, guys, I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye!